Hello, namaskar, adab, sat sri akal to all my listeners and viewers of Sollu Kaburz podcast. And here I am once again talking to one of the most wonderful and most talented people I've met online. I've always maintained that there are friends and then there are online friends. There are two types of friends. Of course, we all know the value of real friends in real life, but people downplay the Facebook and the Instagram friends that you meet, and most of the Facebook and Instagram friends are people who are actually friends in real life. That was not the case with my social media accounts. I have met some wonderful, talented people online, and I have learned from them. And I do my best to bring them onto my podcast and tap into their minds. And one of those talented, young, and upcoming, and emerging, and you can use all the words you want, and because he is young and he's passionate and he's creative and he never stops doing what he loves. And this is Vidyadh Nani, my guest on this podcast. Welcome, brother.
Hi, Najeeb.
He's a filmmaker, but there are many filmmakers. The reason why I invite him is because he's a filmmaker that has come from a place you and I, when I say I mean the listener, would have come. He's like you and me. He has no godfathers in the history. He has come without any formal training from film school. He started with short films, and I have seen him start with short films exactly the time around I had released my short film back in 2012, and I never made a short film again. And he right now is making a feature film after all these years. Of course, he has done some other wonderful works in the meantime, but I just wanted to highlight where he was and where he is now. It's wonderful to talk to you, brother. Thanks for doing this. You're not really active on social media, is it? I mean, you're in a hibernation. Were you active before? Were you like this always? What's the scene there?
Oh, it's I've never seen it like not much of an active thing.
Hmm.
If there is anything to share, I do put it often, but uh, it is something like I somehow strangely started to feel odd in social media.
Hmm.
So it is like what do you call? There are a lot of reasons, but the best thing is yeah, you're you're trying to do something else than doing that. I think so. That's
Right.
all it goes. And the other
Oh,
thing is there is very unhealthy habituation of a social media thing. So I
uh-huh.
don't use my Instagram. I have an app. Usually I do get messages where, dude, why don't you reply on my Instagram and all those things? But thing is, I don't have the app itself.
Right.
So I used to have all these things and I stopped it. It's like I thought, let's channel my art and expression only to the filmmaking thing. And if there is anything sharing and all, I'll do it through Facebook. If I was not doing this film and if I don't have any promotion thing, I think I would have quit social media. That was the
Wow.
yeah, that's the thing. But it would be hard. It would take a superhuman effort, but I would have done that.
Damn. You are, of course, trying to focus on the film, but you generally don't have a high regard for social media on a general note, isn't it? I mean,
True, true. Yeah.
yeah, in terms of forming connections and interpersonal relationships and so on.
But yeah, as you said priorly, like what Facebook has done is something amazing, and I can't undervalue that. It
Hmm.
definitely did something, but I think more than me using it, I realized it was using me. So I think I stopped it.
Perfect way to put that. Yeah. Yeah, you post very rarely. I totally observe that on Facebook. But I want to straight away jump in and talk about one particular post which you had posted about how you got lost in the Himalayas scouting for some location. All right. I don't remember each and every single inch of that story, but what I remember is it was riveting to read, and it was quite a harrowing experience. And I just want you to tell it in your words. What exactly happened there?
Yeah.
The reason why I'm asking you is because you almost is it true that you almost were this close from dying, isn't it?
Yeah, there were scenarios. There were scenarios we couldn't have come back. Of course, we generally have a tendency to dramatize whatever we do in life. So
Yeah.
it may be also that, but on a
What exactly happened?
reality,
Let's come from the top. So yeah.
yeah. So let's say you have a story to tell, and as a filmmaker, you're searching for an environment and landscape which works for that.
Hmm.
And obviously, it is fueled by this tendency to show something what people haven't seen before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was actually trekking. I was actually scouting for something what we call a glacier actually.
Okay.
So a glacier is a thing where, I mean, when the at a higher altitude, the flowing river actually freezes.
Right.
So that is a kind of glacier what I'm looking for. So that for that you have to reach to a very high altitude, and you have to do there. So no,
Oh.
I was just this ignorant. I was not much a traveler thing, but
Hmm.
I was just fascinated by the images and the story I wanted to tell. So I still didn't complete my script by then. I was just fiddling with the ideas. I think I wrote a draft or outline or something. I
This
didn't.
is for the movie Gami, is if I'm not wrong.
Yes, the title is coming. Yes.
Right. Right. Go on.
So I did, before starting the script, I did travel to Himalayas once, which was some other place, just to get an idea of traveling and everything and all. So I did once before the script, and this was the second time. I think this was after 4 or 5 months after getting the. I think it's probably the macro idea of the script. Then I realized, let's do it. Let's get more into the landscape I want to tell. So I was getting into this place, and I realized that there is this glacier called Glacier.
Okay.
It's in Uttarakhand, and it is nearby a village called Guttu. You have to trek for like 11 days or something. So, and it is not the usual trek thing where you can go with a few people and go there. It is a very rare thing. So
Okay.
we
It is
we
not
stopped.
really a famous trek route
It is
where,
not a famous trek.
yeah.
It is
Hmm.
not a famous trek route. And
Hmm.
frankly speaking, I didn't even trek for like 11 days before, and I don't know how it feels like. I just
Right.
did like traveling or trekking for 1 or 2 days and sleeping in tents, but not this hardcore trek. The thing is, I didn't know it was like that. All I was like this stupid guy who saw this image in the Google and realized I have to shoot here. So I was just going there in that direction, and it took me to very surprising places. So emotional places and physical places also.
Hmm.
So as I was saying, yeah, we had to. I finished my script and I was going there, and me and my friend Karthik, who is a producer of the film, so we were at the only team. And once we realized there, then we were told that to do this trek, you need to buy this stuff, all these things, sleeping bags and all these things. We had nothing, no plan, no nothing. We went there, so we had to purchase all these things, and we started the trek and all. I was like, get okay. I think on the first day itself, I'll be witness to all this snow and all these things. But first day itself, there was a blow. The weather started to get worse, and we were actually stuck in a village called, I think it was something. It's a stone village. Actually, it has no phone calls, no nothing. The
Right.
whole houses are made of stones, and people don't bath there actually.
Hmm.
And it's a very different place. And we were stuck there for 2 3 days. If the weather was going to get worse, we would have come back. That would
Right.
have been more worse scenario. So luckily, the fourth day, the weather started to get good, and we started to trek for the next 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, and all. We went on, went on. It was a very different experience. The temperature is freezing, and you don't have anybody. There were situations where I got lost. Actually, I got lost in the
Wow.
I got lost in the far forest, and there was this wild dog that was coming from the far ahead, and you can't shout. There is this thing that you can't shout in the jungle. Actually, I was told by the locals, so you can't call for help. You can't shout help बोल के.
Why,
So there
why,
was a
why, why is that?
I think it causes unnecessary attention to the animals or something. Yeah, of course, I do have that story part. We were confronted by a bear. That part comes later.
What in
So
the fuck, bro? Go on, bro. I'm fascinated.
yes, yeah. So it was a usual difficult trek. Like the 5 6 days are normal thing. Like you have to cross these water chasms.
Yeah.
So if you are in the water, the flow is very strong that you will be hit and you'll be gone away. That is one of those that traps. So like even a small slip, the water flow will carry away to Haridwar. Simple, plain and simple.
Wow. And
Yeah,
Haridwar is fucking far from wherever you are, I assume.
wherever we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought actually I was still ignorant. I was thinking maybe you'll get that rope, that rock or this rock, and I thought no, it doesn't look dangerous. It looks very simple actually.
Right.
But you may think that I wish to think like okay, you'd fall, you'll go the flow, but you may hit that stone or that stone and get a grip and you may survive. But I don't think the rocks are too slippery. You can't hold the grip. Yeah, it's true. If you fall, you're gone. That's all simple it is. And we had to, so there were scenarios where there was no bridges actually to cross those water flowing things. So
Right.
the valleys is nothing but the Himalayan water will be melting, and that is what the rivers are. They are holy rivers. So the river is Cutling River. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
cross this thing again and again. Daily you have to cross one thing. So daily, if you slip in any one of them, you're gone. So there were scenarios where there were no bridges. So they were old, very old. So we had to cut the logs. We have to align the logs. We have to walk on them. There were two helpers with us. So they were guiding us. Maybe if they were not there, yeah, it could have been very difficult. I was so ignorant that I was supposed to do it alone actually. It was like that ignorance.
Wow. You
That's
must
a
have gone all free
yeah,
solo.
that's the problem always with inventing thing and all. You're
Yeah,
ignorant, and that is the lead to do something crazy. That gives more opportunities.
right.
So, yeah, and so we were going fifth day, sixth day, seventh day. The food was running out, so we started excavating the food in the. These are usual trek challenges. There's nothing special about it. So
Okay.
you run out of food, so so we got this
Did you go
alu.
Bear Grylls or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Really?
yeah, I mean, you got this alu in the what you call in the mud itself, there itself. So we plucked some alus there itself, and we used that alu and we ate them. Actually, we didn't eat the insects, but we tried some
Yeah,
fruits and some other budding things and all. I was
right.
actually, yeah, I was scared obviously by remembering the film called, what is that film name? I forgot. Into the Wild, and that
Uh-huh.
book.
Yep,
Yeah, that's scary. That's a scary adventure story.
yep,
The guy dies at the film by eating something which he shouldn't eat.
right.
So yeah, I was asking the local guy, "Can I eat this?" and all. I used to eat it. It was funny and interesting. And we came across a lot of herbs and everything actually on the way, jadi booty bolke, and there are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people who illegally do find these herbs which have rare medicinal advantages, which has something to do with my film actually. That is one of the reasons. So
Okay.
the what you call the mycology part of the film. There is this part where study of fungus actually, which has a play to role to do the film.
Mm-hmm.
So I was even partially doing research on that, studying variable things and what kind of things. It's a very different place, Uttarakhand. It has amazing flora and
Dude, it
fauna.
must be so out of your comfort zone. Here you are sitting in a bed with a computer, with a bathroom, with, these, when you go in places like that, right, you suddenly start missing things that are so
True,
small and so untrivial, right? Thing like a
true.
bucket is something you'll miss. Thing like a tap.
Yes, yes. I think even you are a trekker, right? So you must have known all these things actually
Oh,
in a way.
yeah, man. I mean, go on. We'll talk about how disconnected we are with nature. We'll talk about that in the end. But go on with your story, please.
True, true. Yeah. So the usual. I hate sleeping in the sleeping bags and all, but I had to. And there is an ironic story about my sleeping bag. So I bought this sleeping bag for low bugs or something, and that can withstand only 15 degrees centigrade, and the temperature which I'm in is like -5 something. So
What
it was
the
like
hell,
it was
bro?
like it was like a hell daily, but I had to withstand. And so let's come now. The ending part comes. So the guide showed me some Himalayan mountain top, and he said that is Kathling. That is what you wanted.
Right.
And boom, I was like, what? This is not like what I came for. I was like, I have to go more forward, more forward. I was like, no, you can't. You have to like done. That's what it is. What will you go? You have to go back. The weather is going to get back. Even if you trek back, it's going to take more number of days and all. He's saying that. I was like distressed.
No, wait a second. So why were you disappointed? So the image was not matching your Google image or something like that?
Yeah, so there was this photographer who clicked it in 2000. I don't know when was the Uttarakhand flood. It was in 2011, I guess, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe.
So
I'm not sure. Yeah.
the photographer who clicked the Kathling Glacier was in 2008, actually.
Okay.
So then it struck me after, I think, yeah, after I came down to the base point and I was still in this dark phase um, of course I'll come to the part later.
Yeah.
So I think that part is an amazing thing where I saw the visual, and that was not what I came for. After all these 11, 12 days, I just sat on that rock and I was like, what the fuck is this? I mean, like, is it this hard to make? Okay, that is the reason why people hadn't made it till or something like this.
Right.
So it hit me. And I just sat there on the rock, just looking at the glacier, realizing that the purpose I came for didn't was not fulfilled. And I was in this dilemma that will I ever make the story I want to make in the way I want to make? And I thought, okay, fine, everything is gone. Let's just enjoy the beauty for a minute. And I just sat there for 2 minutes. I just saw the glacier, and I just experienced it to the best, and we started back. Yeah. So on the way, on the last day, there was this base cave kind of thing where we have to stay. I
Right.
mean, this is
Uh,
before
buddy,
realizing the visual.
just I'm sorry to interrupt. Can you please be a little closer to the mic if you don't mind?
Yes, I think we got it now. Yeah.
Right.
Can
Go
you
on.
hear me?
Yep. Yep. Go on.
So this
Cave.
is the yeah, this is the incident which happened before I saw the visual, which was not what I wanted.
Right.
So this was the last day. I can see the glacier, but I was optimistic that maybe if I go deeper down, if I go deeper down, I'll see what I wanted. That river glacier thing.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend actually gave up, realizing how steep it is and how tall it is.
Mm-hmm.
And the very moment we were arguing about why you should go, why you should stay, and there was this guide. He was throwing stones at something,
Mm-hmm.
and I tracked his eyes, and I saw one black object moving far away, and I realized that was a bear. It's a black bear.
What?
Sadly, we were scaring it away. Actually, of course, it's like one of these fight or freeze moments.
Yeah.
It was very far, but I couldn't imagine how distant the guide realized that was the object. Actually, something was itching inside. Why are we scaring the animal away and all these things?
Uh-huh.
There was this one guy who was actually with us, a foreigner called Austria. His name's Peter.
Uh-huh.
He's one of the traveler. He was also, we just caught him in the middle of the trek. He's one of those guys who was doing it alone. He's some 40-year-old guy. He had done the trek before when he was 19 or something. So he was our only stranger guy and company in this whole trek. And he was
White
also with us.
white people are mental, bro.
He's from Austria,
No, I,
actually.
I I mean it in a positive way. Go. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. He was mental. He was crazy mental. He taught us a lot of things, actually.
Right.
So, yeah, it was a strange thing. It was far away. In a nutshell, the guide scared away the animal. But
Right.
in that night, we have to live with fear that where that
Dude.
Chotu bear is going to get his mama bear.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if Revenant was released before you did this trek or after you did this trek. I'm not sure, but
yes. It was before we went to the trek.
oh my God. I mean, those scenes must have played in your mind. I'm sure.
No, it was this.
Yeah, I understand. I
Very
understand what you're saying, man. I don't think you would have slept that night. The night that you saw the bear, and you are
I
so
think my
vulnerable.
yeah, I think my fear of disappointment override my fear of this thing. Actually, I
Oh,
think
okay.
that happened. But my friend was, yeah, he was warning when we are going to like the washroom and all. We were like, okay, okay, be careful. It's going to come somewhere. So we didn't go out much
Yeah,
on that
yeah,
night.
yeah.
It could have come actually,
Dude,
but
nights in our cities and towns are entirely different from nights in a fucking jungle. You would have never seen such darkness in your life. That darkness is something that you can't describe in words. I mean, if there is a word, I think the closest word that comes to that is pitch black.
true, it's therapeutic. For me, it is in a different perspective. Actually, for me that more than the light, I like to those that magical view of the Milky Way galaxies.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
yep.
at that
That
night,
that is yeah, that is one
more,
heavenly thing that you don't get to see in our
more,
urban
more
jungles. Yeah,
than yeah, more than this feeling of you are alone, it makes me feel something more. It's like
yeah,
that. I'm too metaphysical about the sky. I love it. I love
right.
gazing at it. So it at the who are they? What are they? Are we just alone? All these questions, they're amazing questions to think
Yeah,
about. So
man. When I
yeah,
look at the sky, I'm like humbled. I'm like, how small am I, and how does anything matter? Whatever I'm doing, and all the little struggles and the little problems and the little skirmishes that we have, they all look so insignificant when you look at the sky, isn't it? I mean, I don't know how you feel.
true. I think it is definitely, as Carl Sagan said, like we are just a speck in speck of sand. What do you call that? Yeah, we're just one of it, one of a
I
gravel in the sand.
you mentioned Carl Sagan. I think one of the last astronauts to ever go to the moon died. And are you aware of Neil deGrasse Tyson by any chance?
Yeah, I'm aware, but I'm not much into him. Yeah,
Okay,
but I
so
know.
so what? So he quoted a tweet of an astronaut who once said, I just want to grab the collar of a politician and bring him to the moon and just show him how tiny the earth looks and how tiny are your petty issues look, how tiny your petty politics look from this perspective, if that makes any sense.
True, I have heard this, and I completely agree with this thing. Yeah, it does actually. But you know what? Earth is Earth itself is too small of a thing. I
Yep.
wonder what would we feel if we really try to visualize the space-time continuum. I think we would get fuck ourselves. I mean, like
Yeah,
you can't even get
we
out of your
have,
head.
we are so egoistical in our own little urban jungles and the own in our own little universe that we have made ourselves, with plushy beds and massive bathrooms and big bungalows. Every now and then, to humble someone, you have to like drag him out into the nature and just show him who the boss is.
And there is this very fundamental thing, what are we made up of? We are made up of atoms, and a stone is made up of atoms. Why are we any different? At the end, we are just originated from some big bang thing, and one atom became another thing, and one cell became another thing, and species came, and species developed into human thing, and that itself prove how significant we are actually.
Yeah,
So fundamentally itself, we are no different from a rock. We are as significant as a rock. I wouldn't say
yeah,
we are insignificant, but we are as insignificant as a rock. That's what I would feel actually.
yeah. Sorry,
So
man.
yeah, we went from
We,
there to there. Yeah,
yeah, go on. That's how it is. That's how we roll in this podcast, brother. But go on.
yeah. I think that was the end. So yeah, I was disappointed, and
Hmm.
I didn't get what I wanted. And I
Right.
came down, and I was thinking, how could I go wrong? Like I've tried for all these days, and why didn't I get what I wanted? And then it hit me. So there was this floods in Uttarakhand in 2011, and so everything got washed away in that flood. So I came after 2 or 4 years after the flood.
So
So
the entire landscape itself was changed because of that, those
the,
floods, Uttarakhand floods.
yeah, so whatever the landscape I wanted is it's sculpted through eye with eyes. So it
Hmm.
was washed away in the flood. So it was
Man,
not
you should
what I.
have taken some pics for someone like you who will go there for the future, because they'll still be going with this 2008 assumption, if you know what I mean. I'm just joking, but
But
yeah.
yeah, they would go, but still, no, it wouldn't be as important as I went through actually, because
Yep.
I went to make a film, and my whole film was relying on those kind of things, and people would have gone just for a scenic thing. Maybe you'll feel disappointed that it was not there, but this thing, it was hitting me hard because I can't make the film which I want to make. That
Right.
was that kind of scenario.
Right.
So yeah, later, after 1 year or something, I think I've took on another journeys, and I finally got what I wanted, and I've made what I wanted, and it's in the process and all. So this is a long, that's a whole new adventure, another thing. So
Right.
yeah, at the end, I did get what I want. It took me a hell of a time than what I expected.
Right.
So
But
that's what.
man, aren't you glad that that mistake happened to you? Because sometimes we hate our mistakes, but some mistakes we cherish because some mistakes are just happy accidents.
Oh, definitely. You wouldn't try to underplay anything. Everything shapes you, right? So it taught me a lot, definitely. It made it more than, filmmaking thing and all. It's making me a better person, is what I felt. Just like what you said, it makes you realize as what kind of things we have, how grateful we are, the small things and all. And ironically, I think I started to get this knack of wanting to shoot in difficult scenarios, like telling stories through difficult things. So not only this, I have a lot of adventures like underwater adventures and
Yeah.
other things. Everything's
That
everything's
is
there.
one of the reasons why I go travel and do crazy things, because these things, they humble me. I am not only me, maybe I speak for everyone. We all are so proud in our heads, right? We're proud of our jobs, our salary, our status, our car, our mobile, our motorbike. Every now and then we need this uh, how can I put it? Every now and then we need to disconnect ourselves with these worldly comforts and try to humble ourselves by going out there and just try to realize who the actual boss is. The actual boss is the universe and the nature, and nothing humbles you like nature does at the end of the day. And you come back recharged. You come back different from the place that you have traveled. So I hope you experience the same, and you will cherish that for the rest of your life, man. I mean, that's all I can
True,
say
true.
about that. Yep.
Everyone has something like that. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. We I generally start with asking the guests to talk about where they get started. I should have asked this a lot earlier, but I was so eager to listen to what went with you
Story
in
wise.
Himalayas. Yeah, but
Mm.
who are you? Where did you come from? Where did you start? And let's talk about all of that part.
Oh, that's a very tricky thing. Memory is a very tricky thing, right? So
Yeah.
we try to remember in
No,
if it,
let me put you where you obviously we will talk about you are a filmmaker. Obviously, you are a filmmaker. So, what was your earliest movies? What movie shaped you? Where were you? So every Spider-Man has this moment where the spider will sting it, right? Where was your spider moment?
uh, I don't think I can rationally put one point as that hook point because
Okay,
I don't remember that. I
okay,
think it's a process thing which shaped it.
yep,
Yeah, so it's like I think I can put it like this way in a simple way. Like I was not much taken to films when I was young. Like my father is not much of a theater going person, so he didn't
okay,
put me to much films much. So my only source is TV, and all these big hero movies they wouldn't take because I think at that time getting the tickets was a bit harder.
yep,
So my only thing was this TV, and probably when just like every 90s kid, my only thing is that ETV and Gemini. So
hmm,
there was this. I used to like these strange swashbuckler films of Vitlacharya and Kamalakar Kameshwarrao. They're
okay,
like socio fantasy films of Telugu actually. So
hmm,
ఈటీవీలో ఎక్కువ అలాంటి సినిమాలు వేస్తాడు వాడు actually. So
okay.
I used to like Katti Kantaro films. So that guy, it's pretty much the every film is same actually. The hero has something, he's learning with a sage. There is this princess, and there are some curse. You go through the adventures, and you get shape shifters and all these mythological things. And finally, the hero gets something. He learns something, and the day is better than where he started. I
When
used
you're
to like.
talking about these movies, how old were you? How old were you?
I think yeah, five above five to
Okay,
10.
okay,
About 5 to 10,
yeah,
and there is this films of H.V. Krishna Reddy like Mayilodu and these things. Of course we always grow up and explore all these world cinema and other filmmakers, but I think the roots are those. Like
right,
they were fascinating. Like there is this robot who loves, and there is this friendship between an elephant and a normal banker, I mean like an individual, and there is this magician, and there is this gatot kacha. All these are amazing things. I used to like them. I
yeah,
used to surprisingly I used to get both of filmmakers whom I admire now in a way.
okay.
So it's like if there was no fight and no nothing, it used to be very boring. I used to hate them. I always want that hero, the fight, the sword fight, and all these things.
Brother,
So
I'll tell you something. When I watched Dhoom for the first time, when I was in my high school, I wanted every single movie to be as awesome as Dhoom in terms of action and bike chases and the thrill and the adrenaline. My source of adrenaline was Dhoom. I was that crazy and that adamant when I'm watching any other movie is because that's how we are. I, I I'll come to a line that you had said me you had told me long time ago about why how our perception changes about movies. But go on.
yeah, I mean I can put it down to those films,
Right,
those I think they're made in 50s and 60s, and then the other films which I talk about, H.V. Krishna Reddy film,
right.
like this 80s films and all, they are my initial exposures, and then these usual films of snakes and all these things. I strangely used to like them rather than dramas. Of course, now I like dramas more than those
Right.
which are not done right. So it's
Mhm.
a strange thing. As a kid, you are fascinated to those kind of things.
Yeah,
That's
you
natural.
you need action, you need something to happen, some
I
magic.
mean, these are the, yeah, it's like these are the things which trigger our imagination, right? And that's what
Exactly.
children need to be taught about. You have to imagine things. Like people like Harry Potter, people like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
These are something, no, these are exaggerations of what we are, and they take us into a dimension and show something what we can't experience and reflect on what we have. So there are fantasy and science fiction are strange genres. So yeah.
Beautifully put. These are extensions of what we are, and they make us reflect. Ex-
True, true. Some people
Excellent.
call it escapist and all, but yeah, that's a different thing. Everybody has their own term. Some people
Excellent.
call it transportation cinema and all these things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you doing in high? What were you watching rather in high school and college? Obviously, did you go to engineering college, and what were you doing there?
Yeah, I had my engineering in Hyderabad. Yeah, usual films. I was not much excited with Telugu films as much as they were, because I was not much excited. There were very few films which were I was genuinely excited.
Mm-hmm.
Very little. So
Mm-hmm.
I was not excited much. So so the right films which were for me were actually in hibernation.
Right.
So they were not being released, I think. So I was not being exposed to them.
Yeah.
I think I was exposed to Iron Man when in my BTech first year.
Oh my God,
So
dude,
that name I was.
go
Yeah,
on, go on.
I'll tell you that story was interesting
Yeah,
because
because the reason why I said oh my God is because same pinch, right? Go on.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So I have this habit of stories, of course. I mean, so I one of my friend is from IIT, but he was studying in BTech with me. So because he got sent away from IIT or something, so his knowledge palette was something different.
Okay.
So he's the guy who suggests me about the softwares and all. He has a credit in my life to an extent.
Right.
So I was sharing one of my stories which I wrote to him about a guy, a handicapped guy who
Mhm.
makes his own hand actually with using
Okay.
biomechanics. I told him and he said like, dude, this film is already made and it's called Iron Man. You have to check it out.
Wow.
And I was like, wow. When I saw it, I was like, wow, okay, this is how it. No, that was. I'm not saying my imagination was on that scale, but okay, mine is just words on paper or some random images.
Yeah.
But when I saw that shot of Robert Downey Jr. making his own leg, wow, that is something else from that point of time.
Right.
It did something to me, and then I think slowly exploration started. It starts from, I like to put my journey of filmmaking taste from one of the film which completely shook me was Armageddon. I know it's very different to say that
Okay.
film, but it was Armageddon in Telugu dubbed in Germany. I was intermediate first year, I think,
Okay.
and I saw that film and I was like mind blown. Every kid has this, like what is there beyond the sky, and what is all these questions. And suddenly, a film literally took you out of that, and you would be blown by it. So I was genuinely blown by it. In fact, I recorded that whole film in my cheap iPod thing, and I was rewatching it. In fact, I didn't even know the exact name of the film. I had
R-
to check the newspaper daily, what was the time, and then check the film and try to pronounce it. Okay, it's called Armageddon.
Okay.
Then I realized, okay, this guy is called Michael Bay and all.
Oh,
So that is where someone that visual, the story. Now I hate the film, but at that point, it took me to something else
dude,
actually.
I loved Dhoom. All right. Man, you have any idea? You have no idea how excited I was for Doom 2. All
Even
right.
I
Yeah.
remember that
Yeah.
we take a bicycles and we feel it's like this Hayabusa thing, and we give the feeling.
Right.
Everything
Right.
we did,
No, I don't think I would watch even 5 minutes of Dhoom now, but I totally understand what you're saying.
true. I think we have to be honest to our roots. We can
Yeah.
glamorize all about the global cinema, all the Iranian cinema, all the metaphorical storytelling, but we really need to accept what really triggered us. And we,
Long time ago, all right, long time ago, I posted something on Facebook on which you gave a wonderful comment. I don't know if you remember this. I posted when I was in college, I used to love Avatar and I used to hate Hurt Locker, and I was pissed off that Hurt Locker won the Oscar. All right,
Mhm.
when I was in college. Now, 4 years later, when I was doing my job in the city in IT, I watched Hurt Locker and absolutely loved it. So I posted this particular question on Facebook and I said, "Why is this so?" And you commented on it. Do you remember commenting on something like that?
I strangely have a vague memory of commenting, but I
I'll
can't
tell you
figure out
exactly
what
what
I
you
said.
commented. You commented what you commented was our taste and our admiration for a movie at a particular age depends on our expectation from a movie at that particular age.
Yes, I think it was well put.
It
Yeah.
was well put by you, and I'm
Mm.
just paraphrasing it, but I have took that comment to my life, and I look back. All right, I was in 2007. I was in my 10th grade, and I saw this huge poster of Dark Knight in my little town called Tirupati. I saw the poster of Dark Knight, and it was the coolest shit I have ever seen. It had this Batmobile, it had the Batman with his awesome suit, and the symbol was so cool, the bat symbol. I was excited, and I bought a DVD of the Dark Knight. All right,
Yes,
I
yes.
bought the DVD and I watched it, and I watched and I kept watching and watching, and I was waiting for Batman. The Batman never came. And Joker would come every now and then, and I'm like, okay, this guy is weird. And then I keep on waiting for Batman. He never comes. He comes for 5 minutes and is gone. And half an hour, 1 hour into that movie, me and my brother looked at each other's faces and like, what the fuck are we watching this? What's the hype all about? What is this movie all about? What's the hype all about this movie? And after 1 hour, we just shut the DVD down and we returned it back. You know, back in the days, the rented DVDs, right?
True, true, true.
Yeah. Now, believe me, I might have seen Dark Knight at least 25 to 30 times.
Wow,
And
wow.
there was a time, and maybe it is even possible now. There was a time I used to remember every single line of what Joker said.
So you're saying it didn't start the way it is now, right? Like,
Exactly. Dark
yeah.
Knight, same journey.
If it if
Godfather,
it com if it comforts you, it was the same to me actually.
yes. If Godfather, I saw on this Google that Godfather is
Let
probably the best movie ever made in the movie history. And I watched it with this mindset of having watched Mission Impossible and Iron Man. All right, and then I watched
Yes.
Godfather. I didn't understand a thing. Like in Dark Knight, we watched for an hour and we just questioned each other: who is Gotham exactly? That is the question we asked each other. All right, we had no idea there is a movie called Batman Begins, where we are supposed to watch to understand what Dark Knight is, and we didn't knew that we had to read the novel of Godfather to watch and understand what Godfather is. We just watched it straight away, having read the Google reviews, and we hated it. But 5 6 years later, I read Godfather novel, and then I watched Godfather, and I watched it twice and thrice in that same month, and I did not watch any other movie in that month because it I was in that universe. All right, it that's how you know what that movie does. It pulls you into that universe. If you understand what I mean.
Yes, yes. I think we generally have this bad habit always. I mean, I think generally we should have this awareness of it is okay if you don't like Godfather. It is okay if you
Yeah,
don't understand Dark Knight. I think people should have these tastes. That is a very, very destructive thing. It happens with a lot of budding filmmakers also, and every artist and everything. Just because it is mainstream and a peer pressure, you shouldn't just say it is great just because people are saying it. I think you should be honest to you. If you don't get it, fine. I have to admit it. There is nothing wrong in
exactly.
it.
That's exactly what I tell myself. If I don't like a movie, I'm like, okay, it didn't work for me today. Let me watch this maybe 5 years
True,
down the
but
line.
all these good movies do have this voice inside. They keep telling you,
Yeah,
yeah, they good enough, but maybe not right now.
they
Yeah.
they they ha- they stand the test of time for some reason.
Yes, yes, that's what is one great parameter of a great film, I think.
Yeah, yeah, totally. So you watched Iron Man, and then from there, where did you go? What else do you?
Yeah, it starts. Yeah. So I think I would like to put my journey from Michael Bay to Stanley Kubrick.
Right. I
That was a
let
great
let me let me let me try to tell my journey, and I'm pretty sure it would be similar. Let's do this experiment for a minute, okay? I watched Iron Man exactly, and I was blown away exactly the way you were blown away. Back in 2008, I have never seen anything like it. I have never seen a bunch of machines sticking to a human body on their own and making him look cool, right? Though the image of that suit up, the scene,
Mhm.
all right,
Mm.
that
Yes.
that was etched in my memory so deep. And because I watched Iron Man, I started exploring science fiction movies. Because I watched Iron Man, I watched Inception. Because I watched Inception, I watched Prestige. Because I watched Prestige, I started exploring who are the greatest directors of all time in Hollywood. Then I watched Spielberg's work, and then I watched Scorsese's work, and then I watched Tarantino's work. It just went it's like a snowball. A snowball starts very small, but by the time it reaches to the bottom of the mountain, it is a big fucking avalanche. If I'm pretty sure if the names of the movie might be different, but I think you also went through that snowballing experience of movie watching.
Yeah, that's a general archetypical journey. Yeah, you do, and there is this a very strange path for this archetypical journey. Actually, it's like let's call these films like blockbuster films,
Yeah,
and let's call the other films like, of course, I'm talking about the journey of these, authors, like, okay, Spielbergs and Nolans and all these things. Are, Michael Bay are fine, but let's talk about these, people like Lars von Trier and what do you call Scorsese, of course, in a deeper way. But
Ingrid
uh,
Bergman, Andrei
true,
Tarkovsky,
true. All
uh,
these
all these
authors,
all these Iranian
yeah,
filmmakers, man. Every single
yeah.
fucking Iranian filmmaker is a fucking orchard. I mean, in my opinion. But yeah,
True, true. It's their language of filmmaking. It's that's different from our mainstream language of filmmaking.
yeah,
So, he, actually, ironically, you know what? I think they would download our Bollywood films and they would watch it. Do you know that actually?
yeah.
There is this a
Maybe
strange cases
I
of
don't
there is
find it
this
surprising. Yep.
there are these strange cases of cancer patients who are going to die watching our Bollywood films and finding comfort in lives. Actually, so
Right.
there's no need to downplay any film. Actually,
Yep.
every film has its own thing and
Agreed.
meaning. Every film, for me, everything is equal. I don't feel like this audio film as the greatest film and this B grade film as something like this. Van Damme's film could be something else, just like what Sensei tells. Actually, every film has its own thing. For me, it's as great. Actually, eventually, it's relative thing.
You talk about downplaying something. What I don't like is this classification between art cinema and masala, right? I mean,
True, true.
I admire a good masala film. I mean, I fucking like My Hona of Shah Rukh Khan's My Hona. I like Om Shanti Om as much as I like Scorsese's Goodfellas.
Mm-hmm,
All
mm-hmm.
right, I will enjoy it with
True.
with the same enthusiasm. All right, there are only, in my opinion, there are only two types of movies. There's sincerely made movies, and there's movies that are not made sincerely.
Yeah, what do you call this? I mean, of course, these are all subjective definitions.
Yeah,
So everybody has like, what do you say? What is an art film in the sense? A film market has their own definition.
right.
Like what I said, like box office, what do you call blockbuster film is nothing but their definition. It's like this tentpole. It has its own features and all.
Yeah,
Even this art film has its own thing. The box office trade has its definitions, and even individuals have their own definition. Just like what you said, there are two kind of film for you. It's true. It's definitely there, exist. But what we really need to understand is all these are subjective and they keep
right.
changing.
Yep, yep.
So at
Man,
the end,
man,
yeah.
I look for very simple thing in a movie, man. I just look for sincerity. I mean, look, Transformers versus the Pacific Rim, all right? Pacific Rim, I'm not sure if you like it or not. I liked it. Pacific Rim versus some Transformer movie. I'm not talking about the first part of the Transformer movie, but the Transformer 2, 3, 4, I genuinely see the director's intention to make me entertain through two robots who are trying to hit each other using a ship like a baseball bat in Pacific Rim. I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked what he was trying to do, and I think he achieved what he was trying to do. But whereas Transformers, the only thing I see there is his effort to ring the cash registers, right?
Okay.
And both movies belong to the same genre, the genre of dumb action movie which are actually good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Pacific Rim does a better job because it's a lot more sincere than the Transformer franchise in a way. I'm not sure if it makes sense to you. I'm not sure if it makes sense to anyone, but that is exactly what I meant when I talk about a sincere effort for a movie.
Uh, True. It's as I said, it comes to the point of subjective things,
Right,
obviously. So,
right.
uh, so yeah, that's a strange thing. There is an interesting story when I was going location, doing my location scout in Varanasi.
Hmm.
Actually,
Hmm.
so there was this boat guy, and
Which guy? I'm sorry.
there was this boat guy actually,
Boat. Okay.
boat person, and he got to know that I was a Telugu person, and he said that I love Telugu films, and there is this Telugu film which I'm mad of. He was really mad.
Hmm.
It's like as if the film gave him utter meaning in his life.
He is a Hindi guy, basically.
Yeah, he's a Hindi guy. He's from UP, right? So
Right.
there is a thing. They do watch a lot of Telugu movies actually.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe watch some Allu Arjun film or some action film or something like that. He
Hmm.
was like mad. He was not able to recollect the film's name actually. So he showed me the film, and that was Mukunda. I had
Oh,
to actually try to remember. Okay, who directed it? But that film has so much of meaning to him personally,
right.
and that is what things are, right? Like that, like it did so much to him that it did nothing to here actually. So
Yep.
for me, all these are same, like individually, like I think there would be some person, if you really put an effort to, who would speak the same way as you speak about Pacific Rim, who would speak about Transformers the same way. I think so.
Right.
You can't
The-
judge them as
Yep.
incapable or taste as
Nope.
dumb, but
No.
they
Yeah.
call them like
As far as they would connect to a movie based on their experience
different
with
levels.
life.
Art connects to people on different levels, on different ways.
Yes.
So we
Totally.
can never. Everything is like that. That's the point, right?
Yeah.
The film definition of good or bad is obviously subjective. Hit or flop, that's an objective decision. It's financial success thing. So
Right.
that is objective. These good and bad art is completely subjective. So
Well,
it's hard.
I have a question. What did you think when Rajmouli said he didn't understand Parasite and
Oh,
he
is
slept
that?
through it?
I
He
didn't
slept
know.
through
I
it.
didn't read
Oh,
it
really?
actually. Is it
Okay.
that?
Yeah, I may paraphrase his exact statement, but what he said was he didn't like Parasite much. He didn't find it exciting, and he slept through the movie. That's exact. That's exactly what he said in a paraphrased way. But you can
Oh,
verify. But assume if that was the case, what's your comment
yeah,
on
I
that?
heard it, but I always listen in some news or something. I never read the actual thing. So, assuming that what you read is an actual transcript,
Right.
it makes completely sense. Because there is a really good possibility of an average Indian individual not connecting with Parasite, because
Okay.
the sensibilities are different, and the character empathy is different, and what you call, there is something called, I would call these
Maybe the
some
concept
information.
the concept of class divide does not really click in our society because our divides are different. Our divides are caste, religion. Those are the things that will immediately click in our mind.
I don't think
That
it is the point of the theme actually. I think it could be the cinematic language. It could be anything. It could be the cinematic language is an abstract word, but that kind of compromises the everything. Like it could be the way the shot is kept. It could be the way the dialogue is written, or it could be the way the story is told by the
Mhm,
director to tell it.
mhm.
So I do know a lot of people, but it belongs to the prior example. Like people say they like it just because everybody says they like it.
Right.
I'm not much fan of Parasite, but I'm a huge fan of Bong Joon-ho.
Hmm.
I do like Parasite on a good level. It was engaging enough, but it didn't press me the buttons as much as it would have done for a average South Korean actually,
Right.
because it is them actually.
Yeah,
For
but
suppose if you do,
here's the thing. If you're going to talk about other director Bong's movies, please don't talk because it will be spoilers because I've not watched anything else, any other work of his. So, but yeah, okay, I get your point. I think there are many people who said the same thing. They said Parasite is not exactly the best movie of that director. People say it is Memories of Murder, which I have not seen, which you have no right to talk about because you will spoil it for me. But that was that was a sentiment that was reflected by a lot of director Bong's
I think we
fans.
have to respect that it's their thing, and I think we have to encourage that also. Like if people are
Right.
saying it's, I should be fine with it. That's the
Right.
thing. That's what we need to cultivate it
Right.
more than trying to accept things what everybody liked.
Yeah. So Nani, you were watching movies left and right. You started exploring uh, your post Iron Man moment. You had started exploring the world cinema. Tell me about how you mustered up your idea and conviction to make something. and do something about your imaginations in your head.
Yeah, I think yeah, I did an amateur film actually nobody knows about, but I don't want to tell the name also because I don't want people to search it on YouTube.
Nope,
It's there on YouTube,
dude.
but
We
I
have,
think you know it.
we should not be we should not be ashamed of our roots.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Y-
called Zero actually.
right,
So when I started that film, I was this Michael Bay fan, and it took me kind of 2 years to figure out how to complete what I wanted.
right.
So I was in my BTech or something, and literally I was figuring it out everything. Like, what does a camera do to? I do know what a camera does, but I was trying to explore cameras. Like, what is a focal length? What is the lens? What is that? What does it give? That what is that exact
Yeah,
cinematic quality and all these things? It's an exploration process.
yeah.
So I was exploring that. I was exploring editing. I was exploring the visual effects. I was exploring the sound design. I was exploring the color grading, all these processes. And at the end, I was this. When I started, I was a huge Michael Bay fan, and at the end, I was a Kubrick fan. So
Okay.
journey. It's a strange.
So while you were making that short film Zero, by the way, ladies and gents, here this short film Zero, to the embarrassment of Mr. Nani, I'm gonna tell exactly where the short film is. It is on the iMovie Junction channel, but I'm sorry. It
It's
is
fine.
not.
No, I haven't tried.
It is not a bad effort, buddy. It may not be the film that you might admire now, but you have
Uh,
to.
du- Dude,
You have
there is
to
a
get
very amazing trivia of it. It's
you
the film is actually 1.5 hour. The original length of the film is 1.5 hours. It's
really.
actually a feature film. So there is an interesting story. I could tell that, but it's a bit small one. It's like yeah. So I just lost the data.
What?
So
Okay.
yeah. So it's a 1.5 hour film. I
Once
thought
again,
it
so
was
once again. You started this short film with an aim to make it. You ended up writing a story which was actually 1.5 hour long, and you shot it for 1.5 hour long. Correct?
I just kept increasing it slowly, slowly, slowly. It was actually 10 minutes actually.
Oh,
And then I started writing. It just got bigger, 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 bigger. It became 1.5 hour. And it was too big that I almost procrastinated completing it. So after
okay.
so yeah, just like every teenager or something, I was like 17 or 18, I think so.
Wow.
And yeah, I was like just completed my I think inter to BTech మధ్యలో అయిందనుకుంటా ప్రాసెస్ అది. So
Right.
I don't even have the data to store the complete film.
Right.
So I copied the film on my friend's hard disk, and apparently my friend's sister formatted the whole hard drive, and it was gone.
What the
The whole data was gone. It was like my whole 1.5 year of work was gone. And I don't know, ironically, of course, I just gave the data to him and I forgot about it and I lost interest and I procrastinated because it was
right.
too huge a task for me.
Yeah.
Some strange thing happened and I found my motivation to do it. And I went to the guy and, dude, where is the hard disk? And "Arre, మా అక్క hard disk format చేసేసిందిరా." I was like,
Wow.
okay, then I was like shaken and mata. Then I
Oh,
took a day or something and I then figure out just what every millennial would do. Google it. What would you do? Okay, there is a way called recovery thing. Then
right.
I said, dude, I'm going to take a hard drive. Is it okay if I do something? And okay, parలేదు రా తీసుకో అన్నట్టు వాడు ఇచ్చాడు. I I I worked myself on data recovery. I literally educated myself on data recovery for 2 3 days,
Right.
and then I did, and then I recovered 60% of the footage.
Okay.
Okay, then I recovered 60% of the footage, and I was not actually able to get any sense of it. But
Right.
I know I was happy that I got at least recovered 60% of it. There's still hope.
Right.
Okay. And it was like I made the film using all my pocket money.
Yeah.
It sounds absurd, but that film is made in a cost of 3,000 rupees.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 1.5 hour film.
Dude,
So, but still, that 3,000.
we were so young and so dumb, we didn't even have the idea to make a backup of our data, right? I'll tell you the
I mean,
dumb
we don't
things that
have a-
I have done when I don't know if exactly around the time that your Zero was released on iMovie Junction, my thing,
Yes,
that
you have it now.
Time Born was released around that time, all right? Exactly like you, I my process for that short film, amateur short film, went so long, and the reason it went so long was because of a very dumb thing that I did. You know what I did? I thought because we are pretentious and we think ourselves as someone who's ahead of the curve, right? I thought I didn't I because I couldn't find any green screen cloth back then, and the professional green screen cloth was out of my pocket money's budget. So I couldn't find any green screen cloth. So what I did was I studied why the green screen was used, and I thought, if the green screen was used because it is a unique color which is not present on any other surface that we are trying to capture on the camera, I can use any color instead of green that will not be present on the surface of the things that we are trying to capture, and I'll just go ahead and shoot. All right. What I ended up was I ended up buying this light green paper. All right. Instead of a green screen, I stuck it on the wall and I started doing the shooting. All right. And I came back to do the VFX and add the HUD and all that. Right.
Hmm.
What I realized was the white tube light that was falling on that light green paper. All right. It was not even light green. It was some pathetic green. All right. It was reflecting so much on my actor's hands and his suit and his head. I had to literally rotoscope it
Oh.
frame by frame. And this was for a footage of 10 minutes. So it is like 10 into uh, 60 seconds, 600 seconds into 24 frames. You do the math.
Yes, yes.
Because of one simple dumb thing. All right. But I'm not really regretting that mistake. I think I'm proud of that mistake. And I think that little mistake taught me a lot more than anything else would teach me about filmmaking. I'm sure it's the same with your data recovery.
Definitely, that is what makes us what we are. Actually,
Right.
there is an amazing story which happened even from a film.
Right.
It's as similar as it is actually. So yeah, so I had to make sense of that 60% of the story, and I have just shot some 10% of. I've rewrote rest of the 10% or something, and I made what the film is what you see on the internet actually.
Right.
So
Right.
that's what the story of is actually.
Yeah. And I forgot to tell you, right? So we did all that rotoscoping, that this, right? But there were some footages which were so blurred because we used shitty cameras, because we thought it was clear on the camera screen, it would be clear on the laptop screen, our dumb young minds, right? So
Hmm.
some footage was literally impossible to rotoscope. So but then what I figured out is there are some clothing stores who sell clothes to stitch pants and shirts, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Those stores will have any colored cloth that I want.
Mm, yes.
And I got that idea. Sometimes you don't get the right ideas in the right time. I got that idea much later than my shooting days. So I bought the cloth, and I told my actor, like, dude, let's reshoot this little portion again. I have a perfect green screen now, and I think it'll work. You know what he said? He said,
Mm.
dude, I went to Tirumala and I shaved my head.
So sad.
It was just ridiculous. Can you? I mean, it life hits you in the way that you
Yeah,
don't see it coming,
these
right?
are amazing stories, right? They stay with you, they shape you, they make you what you are.
Yeah,
So I think,
yeah.
like you said, you don't
I mean,
regret, right?
we ended up shooting. I put on the suit, and we ended up shooting cleverly, shooting my using my hand and my back, and not showing my
Good.
face.
You eventually solved it. So
Yep,
there it is, right?
it's a film. Making a film is puzzle, man. I treat it like a puzzle. It's like you have to put pieces,
Everything
one
is a
piece up,
problem solving. Yeah,
piece after
one
piece.
nature what it needs is problem solving.
Yeah,
Anything. It could be anything. If you're good at it, definitely you can make a film. You don't need to know
ma-
anything. You
yeah,
need to be good at it, problem solving,
exactly, exactly.
which is what our schools don't actually teach.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that is exactly what mathematics is supposed to teach you. And
True.
how many pick those lessons? How many students pick those problem solving lessons from the mathematics? The spirit of solving a problem, right? The spirit of approaching a problem and trying to figure out ways, trying to do the permutations and the combinations and the trial and errors. These are the things that mathematics will teach you in the school, but we don't put emphasis on that. We just want to get 99 marks out of 100 and get out of there and get an IT job.
True. Problem solving doesn't always need to be that complex. It can be as simple
Yeah,
as a basic analytical thing. Einstein
right,
hated mathematics initially,
right.
actually, but he had to learn it because he needed it. I don't think all these, trigonometries and all these things, we don't really remember them, and we still do live actually.
Hmm.
So, do we really need them? It's all, there are two big questions to think
Yeah,
the
yeah,
school system
right,
and all.
right. Speaking of your zero movie, I know you're getting embarrassed the more I talk about it, but what I wanted to ask is, it must have felt cool, and you must have felt that this is the best thing I've ever done in my life when you had released that Zero short film. But 2 years, 3 years later, how did you feel about it?
No, surprisingly, I didn't feel it was great. I was
Okay,
embarrassed. I didn't want to
okay,
release it. I
okay,
thought it was worse.
okay.
But I just released it for a film festival in which usually happens for every BTech colleges.
Right,
So the only good thing that happened with that film is I used to get my regular pocket money. So there
right.
is this film festivals which happen in every BTech colleges and Mata.
Mm-hmm.
So you apply them. So I used to apply that film. People wouldn't understand it, but they used to just get awed by the visual effects and all, and they used to give me some first, second, third, one of the prize, no matter what.
Dude,
One of the
dude.
prize they used to give me. I used to spend that was my pocket money. That's all. I used to
Dude,
buy graphic cards. I used to buy things
you
like
you are literally strategizing exactly the way I strategized when I was in BTech. But yeah,
that.
great.
It's similar to a lot of other people.
Yep,
It's same, pretty much same.
right.
Everybody goes through it. I know
Yep.
a lot of people like that. I still am friends with a few
Mm,
friends who have been through that film festivals thing.
mm.
It's a small world, right?
Where did you go from there, Nani? From zero to what you do next? What lessons did you take from there, and what was the things that you wanted to do? What were the mistakes you didn't want to repeat in the next thing, and what did you do?
I was wrong. I just realized a bad mistake. I thought I shouldn't use visual effects and tell stories. So
Right.
I completely chucked it off. I
Okay.
thought that was a mistake.
Okay.
Maybe you need to learn how to use it. But the problem is not with the visual effects. It's just wild. It's too thing. I was doing a lot of things. I have these amazing things. The story is too complex, huge, too
Mm.
ambiguous, too pretentious. Actually, the film is pretentious. You're trying to imitate all these bigger films
Yeah.
that all the amateur films are nothing but imitation films. Even
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan has films in his lodge. He has
Yeah.
his films of Star Wars. James Cameron has his films lodge, and
Yeah.
everybody has it.
Yeah.
So we try to imitate these big films.
Mm.
Spielberg used to imitate David Lean films actually.
Y-
So
Do you
that
do you know
happens.
do you know this story? Spielberg used to film this scene using a Super 8 camera by making two trains crash, and he always
Yeah,
had this.
that's the
Yeah.
scene from Bridge of Kauai actually.
Yeah.
It's after watching Bridge of River Kauai. Have you seen
Exactly.
the film?
Yeah, after having dreamed about shooting that sequence after in his entire long career, all the way from Indiana Jones to Minority Report and all that, he ended up fulfilling his dream as a producer of this movie called Super 8, made by J.J. Abrams, which has
Oh
this
yeah.
train crash scene, if you remember.
Yes, it's amazing sequence. It's amazing
Yeah,
sequence.
it is a
Amazing.
sequence that had come out of it is a sequence that has come straight out of Steven Spielberg's childhood,
So
which
the
of course
film
you
itself
re-
is a homage
you you refer it to
to
the River of Kauai movie. Yep,
true. Yeah.
man,
So just like that, I was imitating.
yeah, yeah, precisely. I mean,
I
these
was
connections
imitating
is
all these.
amazing.
I told you
What
right.
did you make next after Zero? What did you make next?
I mean, if you're talking about personal thing or commercial thing, it's different. Actually, I happened to get an ad. I
Right.
have someone asked me to do a commercial
Let
after
me
seeing.
yeah let me in that case let me take you straight to Ugolino. Was that your third thing, a fourth thing, a second thing?
Strangely, I don't remember my order of works actually.
Okay.
So Ugolino, I don't know. I didn't remember them, but I think it was after something called I've shot something called Vaitarani, and
Hmm.
after shooting that, I didn't complete the post production. There
Right.
was some strange issue, and I couldn't complete it because the actor was getting married, and I can't
Okay.
do the dubbing. So I got this some. I always had this idea of apocalypse thing, and
Right.
I saw in the paper about this competition, and yeah, I thought why not let's do it, and I did it. It was the idea that triggered me rather than the competition thing. I
Right.
thought this idea, maybe if I do it right now, maybe this could work in the both ways. So
Right.
that's how it happened to me. So that was
Yeah.
after Vaitaran.
Vaitarani was that short film which was uncensored, right? Amabutulu and all that.
అవునా అమ్మబూతులు ఉండవు అనుకుంటా
No,
దాంట్లో ఐ డోంట్ థింక్ సో
which was the short film that you made with? There
బూతులు
are two
ఉంటాయి
guys speaking in a van and they just speak
యా
like
that's the film that's the film yes
that is the
yeah
Vaitarani, right?
బూతులు ఉంటాయి yeah బూతులు ఉంటాయి that's the first film which I ever made with dialogues actually so
Oh,
that's
okay.
so that's version I don't know how to write dialogues I just wrote how I hear around actually so
Right.
that's it
So no,
so
గట్టిగా
before that
బూతులు
before
బూతులు
that, I'm very
వాడతావు
silent
అట్లయితే.
no I don't actually
Okay.
my friend My friend used to a lot, so I based it on him actually.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, this thing.
Why why
Normal
why Vaitrani?
conversation.
What did you do? You took the Vaitrani short film just to release it online, or you took
Yeah,
around to
I thought
festivals?
it was just a small pet project. I thought I would complete that in 10 days. It also took like 1 year or something.
Right.
Even I had to take some personal journey to complete that film. I
Mm.
was. It's a strange thing. I always find motivation very slowly. So I shot it and I left it. And later I got selected to shoot German official tourism video through a competition.
Yeah, yeah. Talk about that, man. I mean, that was sad, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a very interesting thing. It's one of those good points. Maybe if I would have gone there, I don't think I would have been doing films.
W-
So it
What?
was like this tourism thing. So it was a competition. Usually, I
Okay.
think I spent one pretty after BTech. You have this uncertainty of what to do and all.
Right.
So there was this period I was doing commercials and competitions for 1 year, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to win some of them, and I used to, if I got something, I used to get something like iPad or something. So I
Mm-hmm.
used to sell them, and you make something or do something. I actually distributed RGV's film at that time by selling my iPad. So that's a strange thing.
Oh.
So I used to make money like that, those kind of things. So I spent 1.5 year like that. Among that 1.5 year, one of the things that happened was this. So I did a pitch video for German tourism
Mm-hmm.
along with a lot of people across the globe. I said this is what I would shoot and all. Technically, there is a method called hyperlapse. It was very
Okay.
very new at that point actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So using some strange things and all, I pitched them and they liked it and they wanted me to come to Germany and do it.
Okay.
So among the world, there were three people who were selected, and I was one. And they said like it's a normal visa interview thing and all. I was
Mm-hmm.
still young. I was like 19 or something,
You
and I
wait a
didn't
second.
know
You
how
how
to
old were
clear
you? 19.
19 when I was doing that.
Okay.
I was still in my BTech third, I think so. Yeah, at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know how to clear visa interview. I thought they actually told it wouldn't be complicated. So I went to Chennai, and they said, uh, yeah, it's a normal question. They'll ask you what you're doing. You just answer them. And the visa interview asked me very tough questions like when is the first day trip, when are your lodgings, and where are the thing complicated thing. I thought they were going to take care of, and I couldn't answer them well.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was my bad. I didn't prepare well. Actually, so
Right.
the visa was rejected. It was not anybody's fault.
Right.
So yeah, I got depressed. Actually, depressing is a big word to use. I was sad for a few days,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know what to do. So I took a personal journey. I just traveled. That was my first travel ever,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to Satara, Pune. And then in that journey, I realized let's complete this film which I have long back. And I came, and after in a 1 week or something, I completed. I sent it to my music director, and pretty much everything was done. And then I concentrated on releasing that. Once I released the trailer or something, then it was somewhat different for me. Then I
Right.
really sensed, then I really got the taste of, okay, what will really happen if people get connect to what you do.
Right.
I got a taste of it. I got calls. I went to some meetings, and I got very strange messages. Very very huge thing. Wherever I
Well,
go, people were talking, meeting. Small circle,
yeah.
still. But I got a taste of what happens when you do something and it connects with at least few people.
Right. You're talking
So
about Vaitanri, right?
yes, Vaitharan.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was it.
Right. What was the reaction with because our Telugu movies are pretty
It was
pure.
not
I
at all
mean,
good.
it though we make masala films, we are pretty pure with our language. That was something raw. I watched Vaitarni and I felt it was like straight out of Gangs of Wasseypur scene just made in Telugu.
Yeah, that is an era where it was 2015 or something, where even we were
Mm,
even our mainstream films are not even మన దాంట్లో కూడా అప్పటి వరకు మనకు రాలేదు mainstream films లో కూడా.
yep.
I was not even seeing like that. I was subconsciously inspired by all these things.
Right.
Tarantino, Gangs of Wasseypur comes from Tarantino. Tarantino comes from something else. So
Yeah.
everything is a long chain. So
Yeah.
I lately realized that actually I usually do I'm a distant from Tarantino's work, but I subconsciously was influenced by Tarantino
Yeah.
for that film. The
Hmm.
film is nothing but a huge adaptation of Pulp Fiction,
Right.
which surprising. I didn't like the film at the first actually, so I
Dude,
was inspired by
same
it. I don't
pinch,
know.
man. If you were doing this podcast live, right, I would have pinched the hell out of you. But yeah.
Yeah, so I was surprised. I just realized that I was inspired by from something which I consciously hated it.
Hmm.
And yeah, there was this filmmaker called this was Gasparno was the most influencing thing.
Okay.
for that film. Actually, yeah, you see the journey, right? Michael Bay, Stanley Kubrick, Baz
Right.
Luhrmann. So, and
Right.
then again you come back to the square one. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's good. Okay, all these things you go boom back. You discover all the late works. So it's
Hmm.
a very strange path to
Hmm.
do it. Now I think I'm in the full circle in a way. I think so. Yeah,
Right.
something like
Right.
that.
So between Zero and Vaitarani, you have done a lot of work doing commercials and so on.
Yeah, competitions I would call them
Right.
mostly. I
Right.
think.
Right.
After
Right.
Vaitarni, I think
How
it was
did
just film
Right.
more.
How did Vara happen from Vaitarini? Did Vaitarini help you in making of Vara in a strange way?
Right. So there was a strange thing. So Vaitarni was so good that there were some really good people,
Hmm.
which I can't name, but they're good. They called me and they offered me to do the first ever web series actually, appudu,
Oh.
because they loved it. They
Oh.
are actually the pioneers right now, actually.
Hmm.
So they contacted me and said, "Would you be interested to do a web series? We have a sponsor from this thing and all."
Hmm.
So it was like I was about to do one of the first web series on Kunta, so I was prepared. I
Hmm.
pitched them the idea, they liked it, and they said this would be the funding and all.
Hmm.
But that was something like I was making something which people would like actually,
Right.
because even I was under pressure that you have to do something they would like. Even
Hmm.
I want to do something general, normal thing, that normal everyday life. I think like two kind of stories. One kind of stories shows themselves, and some kind of stories show something they can't see and something can't do beyond your reach.
Right.
They take you to the places where you can't be, and
Yeah.
some places kind of remind you where you are. So two kind of things. So
Hmm.
that was something like that.
Hmm.
But I thought I would do that, but that is a very lengthy project because it's a
Right.
web series, and that
Yeah.
time there is no web series made actually.
Hmm.
So I thought I will make that, but before that I just got this strange idea of some fucking sci-fi idea,
Right.
and I thought this would be my last thing. I want to do it. I couldn't sleep actually without
Uh,
doing that.
okay.
So I thought I would complete it in 10 days and then go to the web series thing.
Okay.
So once I started it, surprisingly, it started getting bigger, bigger, bigger. It didn't
Right.
get bigger in the sense, but just to get that, I have the shot in my mind,
Right.
but to execute it, I just didn't realize how much work it would have taken to get in the way I wanted.
Yeah.
So that took me a long time. So
Right.
that's how it consumed. That's what it became and all.
Right.
So I
And
eventually I didn't do the web series and nothing. So boom, I did a feature now next. That's it. So
okay.
in a way, everything helps. Everything helps.
Yeah. Where for the people who are not aware, where can we watch Vara? Is it on YouTube or is it?
Actually, it's on YouTube. Actually, everything is on YouTube. I like,
Okay.
yeah, I
Cool.
think Unreal channel. I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. You did Vara. Um, who funded Vara? The reason why I'm asking is because was there enough creative freedom from the people who are funding you?
Hmm. Okay. So it was not like this traditional funding thing. Actually, it
Okay.
was like actually, yeah. After Vaitarani, yeah, there were a few people who said like, I would give you this money, make it something for me, bolke.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted. I didn't even know that there are producers for short films. Actually, they give
Oh.
money, 10,000, 20,000. I was like surprised. There
Mm-hmm.
was this guy who came to me and asked me to do a short film in 20,000. I
Right.
was like, what? How can you do like that? I mean, like, you make short films because you want to tell something or try something or learn something or you're figuring out something, expressing something.
Mm-hmm.
I used to see it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I always used to self fund it. And this was also something like that, but it was like mutual funding. There was this person called
Whoa.
Karthik, who
Okay.
actually helped a lot in Vara, actually. Vaitarni.
Right. Right.
Screening. Actually, I wanted to have a theatrical screening. So I liked collaborating with him. And he said, like, whatever you want, I'll give it to me. Like, just say it. So
Mm-hmm.
we started with a budget of 15,000 and all.
Right.
So yeah, that's
So
what the money is.
Vaitarini was funded by you alone.
Yeah, it was made in 5,000 rupees. Yeah, alone.
Okay.
And it's not just the problem with independent films. It is not just made on money, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
friends, time, and everything,
Yeah.
right? So you
Yeah.
have to respect that. So my friend used to accommodate his home, give his home for everyone
Mm.
to stay. One guy
Mm.
used to give his car. So
Right.
it's a teamwork.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I can do it right like that right now. I don't think I
Okay.
can do it ever again. Something so
Okay.
special.
Right. So you had, because it was a mutual funded project, you literally had
Yeah, it was
no
like we are doing it
obstacles
together.
with Vara.
At all. No, never. Even surprisingly, even feature film, I think I'm one of the very few luckiest guys who are making a feature film like that.
Hmm.
It's like So it's a different way to make it. I
Right.
think it's a very bad habit that I'm getting habituated to something like this.
Yeah.
It's too much of control. Too much of control is actually dangerous. Too much of
Yeah.
freedom is dangerous. Actually,
Hmm.
you have no idea what to do with it.
Right.
So
Right. So post Vara, so your next film, right? It is crowdfunded. So that is something new that you're going to try, isn't it? Can you talk something about crowdfunding, because that might also help people who aspire to get their stories made. So what can you tell about crowdfunding, its limitations, its advantages, and how it
so
works? I mean, if I want to crowdfund your movie, will I have a cut in the profit? How does it all work? Is it like charity, or is it like a proper transaction, the crowdfunding?
true, true. Well, actually, crowdfunding is not something new. It's not like what we're doing it right now. It's
Mm.
very age-old thing.
Okay.
It's like it could be 10 people, it could be 15 people, it could be 40 people, 100, whatever it is.
Right.
Just because we are doing it now with that name and a specific platform, we
Right.
are giving it a special importance. But
Right.
besides that, I think everybody did films like that. I think Satyajit Ray started films like that. He
Uh-huh.
used to get his money from all his aunt, uncles, and all these things.
Right.
And there are a lot of even our upcoming starting films also were made like that. Stanley Kubrick made his film like that. He brought his money from his uncle and all. So
Mm.
instead of that, you just put it now that we have this tool of social media. You
Mhm.
and there are people who have seen your work and who know what you do.
Right.
So there is this opportunity of asking directly them. So the real person who gave these ideas and everything was
Okay.
Karthik Chabri, who actually was my partner of doing Vaitani and Vara, all these short films.
Right.
So he's the one who nudged me to do something like Game, or else I would have done very lately the feature film. I didn't thought I'm talented enough or good enough, capable enough to do a feature film.
Okay.
We just wanted to make something small, and as usual, as I said, all the three things. Even this got bigger slowly.
Right.
So yeah, every crowdfunding thing works in a different way. The profit thing, that thing, and this thing and all. We try to keep it that only the information to the investors because
Okay.
the we don't have the information on how what exactly is actually clearly. So once the project comes out, I think I'll get a very clear information on what it is and what it is before, because I don't want to promise anything or I want to get anything. Once
Mhm.
thing work, or if it even if it didn't work, I would actually put it out. Because that is a point, right? It has to be transparent. That is
Right.
a point. It's
Yep.
people's money. People are giving you to do something you do.
Mhm. Yep.
And the good part is when someone is giving to you something like this, they don't actually much ask back. Actually, they're blindly trusting you or something. There's not a single person actually who has this money back till now. I think so. We do get his mails and all. Actually, we are very bad at that, but we try to get as much updated as with that material thing and all. But the downside is we didn't use these platforms like Kickstarter or something like that, because they take a pretty good decent percentage of a film, which is very precious for a project like small projects.
Okay.
So because of that, organizing the data and maintaining a communication with them and updating with them is a bit challenging thing. Besides
Mhm.
that, it is as similar as getting your money from your uncle and paying him back. It's pretty much as similar as it is. If you get something, you give them back, definitely, because you want this system to go on further. You want this to be done for someone else. That
Yeah.
is something superior to it. So that is what I can say about it.
Man, how old are you, man? Roughly, if you
Now I'm 26 actually.
holy moly. At the age of 26, you're trying to get a short feature film made, handling all the stress of crowdfunding, going to Himalayas and fucking with bears, and then coming coming back rugged and don't do you ever pinch yourself and just realize where you are and how many people of your age are doing what they're doing, and you look around, how do you feel?
I don't. It would be too much if I take the credit for this thing, because
Okay.
it's the events are not in my hand which caused this to happen. Maybe I was at the right time at the right moment. It is not
Mm.
a superhuman effort which I did to get here. Maybe I think our generation is lucky in terms of information. There's a lot of democratic things. So like the cameras are there, the technology is there, the
Mhm.
information is there. If you go to YouTube, like you can search all these information. Everything is there, just right there ahead of you.
Right.
So I think we are self-educated. We are Our exposure to information is different. Our tools are we are very easily accessible to tools. So I think it's casual to understand that whatever we are going through. So I think that's what I can reason it up to at the era and everything.
Okay. You're too humble and you're too kind, but you're too kind to give yourself some credit. But I think
It's a big philosophy I believe in.
you
So
find
continue.
it better to leave it to others to judge you through your work. But I would, speaking of work, you have been in the social media hibernation, and you have put the anticipation of your let's just say audience and viewers and admirers, you have put their anticipation in hibernation with respect to Gami. Now, I know we have spoken before, and you have told me you're not sure what you can speak about Gami, what you cannot speak. I'm not sure if you can give us a rough estimation of when it will come out, what will
I'm
come
sorry.
out. What can you possibly speak about Gami, or should we not discuss about it altogether?
Oh, okay. Okay, you were asking about Gami. I'm just having a technical glitch in hearing you. So
I'm
you were
sorry.
asking me about what I can tell about my project, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's just I'm one of those filmmakers who believe in, like, let's hold it to till the film is done or the work is done. That's the reason why I'm trying to hold anything, because I didn't reveal the cast, I didn't reveal any story information, anything. But yeah, one thing I can tell is the title is Gami,
Right.
and um uh, regarding the genre, also we tried to tell it. Genre is a very tricky thing because it sounds pretentious when you try to say that my film doesn't fit in a genre, it's something different. No, it is not like that. It does fit into a genre, it does has these expectations. But I would, if you insist me to put in it, I would try to say it like it's kind of this multi-genre film, but on a surface it is this hero's journey, this adventure drama
Okay.
thing,
Okay.
which is very classical thing which you already seen in all this film. Like I don't want to name the film references until the film has come out,
Hmm.
but there are a lot of films which always I kind of just did the film which I would want to see. I'm
Mm.
kind of making it in the way that what if this is my last film, so I'm doing everything to make it in the best way possible. So like
Right.
I'm literally, it's like I'm doing everything, like sculpting
You
it.
yeah, you speak of multi-genre, right? Instead of talking about multi-genre, what can you tell about the top two prominent genres and themes, or whatever you
Hmm.
call it? What are the top two genres that will come out of that film, if that is a question that makes sense to you?
Genre. Yeah, I think I told that adventure.
Okay.
Adventure is a word I would
Mm-hmm.
choose, and it is kind of this thriller, it is kind of this slasher, it is
Okay.
kind of this fiction. So it
That is
has
all you
this
have to give away, man. That is all you have to give away. I mean, I'm a big believer of not revealing much.
true,
For
and
example,
it's like it ventures into it. That's the thing, right?
yeah,
We like to subvert your expectations. With genre is you have these expectations, and
right,
when you give them it's boring. When you
yeah,
give them and you give them something more than what they don't expect, that's exciting actually. And
mm,
I'm trying to do that in a way actually.
yeah. Because I want to tell you one lesson I learned when I watched the Tenet trailer, the second trailer, right?
Hmm.
I was disappointed with the second trailer because it revealed too much. It was the first trailer was very nice. It looked like it was cut by Mr. Nolan himself, but the second trailer it looked like Warner Brothers CEO cut the trailer because it was revealing all the spectacular shots, all the key surprise moments. And I regret watching the trailer, and I wish I had a delete button in my mind so that I can delete that particular file of Tenet, the memory file of watching the Tenet trailer from my mind, but I couldn't do it. And I suggest you the same, brother. Of course, you know better about your work, but I don't know if you believe in not revealing much.
True, that's the point, right? Besides the genre thing, there's nothing much to give away, and
Yeah.
I think you have to look up for the Tenet film.
Yeah.
The film is a very strange thing because the marketing, we may think like it is, but the marketing of a project is completely different. It's a huge project, so
Right.
they may need to take some steps which may need to do it. Some
Yeah.
may like it, some may not like it.
Fair
That
enough.
happens.
Fair enough.
But if what you're saying is true, then people should watch films without theaters. But that doesn't happen in reality. You
Right.
have to give them something good enough, and you have to
You meant
set an
without
expectation.
trailers.
Yeah, that. But if what you're saying, like we wouldn't no information and know
Exactly.
nothing about the film, people
Exactly.
wouldn't come. They wouldn't know anything.
Yeah.
The trick is you have to give them enough information to
Yeah.
set an expectation, and
Right.
you have to reach the expectation. That is a tricky thing. Very few people are capable of doing that.
Yeah.
So
Precisely.
that's
Dude, here's the thing. I love movies and you love movies. And if I ever attempt a Guinness record to hold the longest podcast, you know what I'll do? I'll invite you and we'll talk about movies all day, couple of days, 3 days. But brother,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
we have to end this right here, and I'm sure we will do many more in the future. But it has been an absolute fun talking to someone who shares the same passion, man. And thanks for doing this.
It was really a pleasure sharing my ideas. It's rare. I've probably never done that, so it's strange and it's a good experience.
Man, thank you very much for doing this. I wish you all the best for all the projects you've come, and I really want to tell my viewers and listeners, his name is Vidyadh Nani. Watch out, folks. Watch out for his movies. Watch out for his work in the future. He's just 26, and he's coming at you hard and fast. Thank you very much for listening, everyone, to the Solo Couples podcast. I'll have to sign off here. Bye, everyone.